Hey, it's Patrick here, and I spent the day at two exhibitions of two important artists. One is Aubrey Beardsley, and the other is Ito Junji. So give us a watch right here on Gaijin Guy. Swing! Hey guys, Patrick here, and I wanted to tell you about the incredible Father's Day I had yesterday. I drove up with my daughter up to Fukuoka, and as you hit Fukuoka, there's another city in the interim called Kurume, and at Kurume they had the Aubrey Beardsley exhibit. I don't know if you know about Aubrey Beardsley, but he was an illustrator, worked with Oscar Wilde, and did some very iconic imagery for books and book design and other publishing ventures. This is my ticket at the Kurume City Museum, and I'd seen this art around. I think there was a particular movie, which is Black Lizard, written by Edogawa Rampo, produced by Yukio Mishima, and in that movie, his art features extensively, as like background motifs, etc. Very detailed, very gorgeous work. It's too bad that he died at 27 of tuberculosis. He probably would have continued to grow as an artist and done just some really amazing work. At the gift shop, I of course got, as I usually do, I got the catalog. They had a special cover, which was one of the pieces that was only for that specific iteration of the exhibition. But you know what? I really liked the cover design of this, and so I decided just to get the regular edition. But it's great. It's got a lot, all the works in here. What I did like about that exhibition was, of the 8 rooms that they had, there were 3 rooms in which you could take photos of the works. And so in those 3 rooms, I took a bunch of photos of the stuff that I thought was really cool. You may or may not know this, I also do artwork and design, and so I'm always looking for artists and artwork that inspire me. Here's one of his most famous images. This is featured very prominently in the movie Black Lizard that I mentioned. This is also from the same work. It's from Oscar Wilde's Salome, and very grotesque stuff in there. It's interesting, one of the published books, instead of saying illustrations by Aubrey Beardsley, it says grotesqueries by Aubrey Beardsley. I love that. I want to use that. Grotesqueries. I don't know if my work is, I really like that, I don't know if my work is grotesque enough to actually have it called. This is from The Death of Arthur. I think that's the first book that he worked on, and he did like over 300 illustrations for it, I don't know. I mean, something about this poster, I just like the use of the dots and the figure. He's very good with his uses of just black and white, just the balance, and his layout is so unique and very much contributed to art of his time. But also, the reason I mentioned on this channel is because he was also apparently a big inspiration for artists that continued to inspire girls comics, design and illustration, etc., etc. So that was Aubrey Beardsley. And one of the rules I have for myself is if I spend the money on a catalog, I have to do at least one illustration or drawing inspired by that particular book, or I'll just end up just buying books and not, never going back and looking at them. It's one of my worst habits. It's called tsundoku in Japanese, where you just like pile up books that you don't read. So ever since I've kind of set that rule for myself, I've gotten better. So that was on the way to Fukuoka City proper, where at the Science Museum, the Fukuoka City Science Museum, they had an Ito Junji exhibit. And so a friend of mine who lives in Fukuoka told me about this exhibit, and we set it up so that I could go there on Father's Day with my daughter. The reason I'm taking my daughter, she did go with me to the Beardsley, but she wanted to spend time with her friend who, lives in Fukuoka. It's far away. So she didn't come with me to this exhibit, which is probably okay. She does like scary stories, but she's not much into grotesqueries. This was my ticket. And it was a great show, very comprehensive, lots of great stuff. Again, I was able to take lots of photos of the art. And, there's very specific areas that you're not allowed to take photos of, but there was a lot of, I was able to take photos of a lot of original art, which is good because this is the catalog. This is not my favorite way to, these boxes. I mean, it does have a deluxe kind of, well, let me show you the back before there's the back. And so that's a see-through eyeball there. It does have a deluxe feel. It will look nice on my shelf for sure. But I just get worried about damaging it, like pulling it off the shelf, putting it back on the shelf. This is probably one that I will look at time and again. But the reason that I'm glad that I was able to take like direct photos of the art is because just looking at these reproductions, you can't really tell. Because, well, for one thing, the corrections he made were few, very few. And so his art is almost perfect to begin with, like it needs very little correction. But I actually don't remember seeing this in the exhibition. So seeing this notebook with the Tomie name, as it's called, the thumbnails is fantastic. I love this kind of thing. So, and you could see the paintings, the color plates up close. Of course, I probably have mentioned my favorite Tomie story is Little Finger. And I took pictures of that painting, like up close, probably too many pictures. I feel sorry for the people who were around me as I went through the Tomie part of the exhibition, because I took photos of every piece of original comic art, and Japanese phones are set by law to make that camera picture taking sound. And so that can be annoying. I didn't take a picture of this one, but I got the postcard. So these are the postcards that I got. This one, it's kind of got a Da Vinci-esque robot kind of thing going on there. Cyborg. It's a really nice piece there. It's gorgeous. An Uzumaki piece. I just think she's definitely different looking than Tomie. There's some innocence there, and also very cute. And of course, my favorite Tomie story, Little Finger. That being Little Finger right there. the more grotesque one. That's going to be my word of the day, grotesque. I got some other swag from there too. I got this set of bookmarks, and you know, they're little plastic, clear plastic bookmarks, but which, you know what? I use these. I use them. I don't just keep them. I use them and I lose them. But, you know, it's just happens. And then years later, I will find them stuck in one book or another. So there's and that's probably a Tomie that I'm guessing. Doesn't quite, yeah. You would think that I've read a lot of Junji Ito, but the fact is, outside of Tomie, I've only read a few things. And I'm trying to rectify that. I got these Tomie stickers. Tomie still happens to be, though, you know, it's going to be hard to replace this in my mind as my favorite because there's just so many different versions. When you walk into the exhibition, the first thing you do is you get to pull out like a kind of a fortune-telling thing, and mine was very lucky in love, and I don't know, in my case, I feel like, yes, yes, I'm already very lucky in love. I have a amazing wife and a wonderful daughter, which I, you know, on Father's Day, maybe I'm the one who's supposed to be appreciated, but I appreciate the two people in the world that made me a father, of course. I also got this book, The Frankenstein. I realized that it's not all Frankenstein. It's like, it's in there. Frankenstein, the story's in there, and there's other stories. I read maybe the first one last night, very good. I do love short, you know, like short and sweet stories, but yeah, and I'm a big fan of the original and many adaptations of Frankenstein, so I wanted to get this one. And I also got this, this is like a nonfiction book. It's like a lengthy interview and a bunch of like information and stuff about the artist himself. And I just like the way that it's laid out. I like the little art. I like the little flip book at the bottom there. I like how the cover, like people who work on his stuff are really like the cover having the, you know, the holes, and just he really knows how to disturb. And then a lot of the designers that work on his works know how to extend that, expand that, express that, you know, I think in even many of his overseas editions. So, you know, I can see why he's very well thought of outside of Japan, you know, and inside Japan too, but it's just interesting how, oh, my last bit of swag is, I wasn't sure, like, should I get another t-shirt? I recently bought a bunch of Mizuki Shigeru stuff, and so I felt a little guilty buying this because these exhibition swag is never cheap. But you know what? I'm constantly telling people how Tomie is like one of my favorite manga, and to not have, I'm a t-shirt guy, and to not have a t-shirt to represent Tomie, and that's one of, I like this one better than several of the ones that I've seen so far. So, you know, I convinced myself to get it, and it's Father's Day, so, you know, maybe I went a little bit over budget, but hopefully I'll be forgiven. Well, thanks for joining me. I definitely, if you ever get a chance to see original comic art in person, like, definitely go. Maybe try not to spend too much on swag, you know? Like, they had a bunch of, like, stuff in bags where you don't know what you're gonna get, you know, and they were like 400 yen, which isn't a whole bunch, but still I felt like, you know, there's a good chance I'm gonna get something that I'm not really excited about, and I don't want to spend, you know, like I don't want to buy like a bunch of this stuff that I really, bookmarks I can use, stickers I can use, postcards I can store, books of course I will make the space somehow, and t-shirts I will, you know, I'll do some cleaning, you know, and maybe I'll have to say goodbye to some other t-shirts eventually, but I still have some space in my drawers. But a lot of the like acrylic stands and this kind of thing, I just don't have the space, you know, like I've already got too much space taken up on my computer desk and my bookshelves, etc. So yeah, I talk myself out of such stuff. But anyway, I hope you had a good Daddy's Day, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye, guys.